All right, let me tell y'all. So every show, the team, shout out to Sam, shout out to Team Aquarius, okay, Sam, Cassie, and Daryl. They will send me, they'll send me a list of audio that I can to use during the show. And I was just saying to them that today's list of audio is like one, the list of audio is always like an indication of like what's happening just in the world. It's a quick like sum up in my opinion. But today's list of audio, I was like, this is wild. Okay, I'm just gonna read y'all the list of audio. I'll go into the articles a little later maybe, but I'm just gonna read the titles of the list of audio, okay? Things that people are saying around the world. Here we go. Kid Rock says America has low birth rate because of ugly ass, crazy liberal women. And as if Kid Rock can say, has the right to say any of that. Like, sir, have several seats. And then after having those seats, have another layer of seats. Um, White women complains about fatigue, quote, fatigue from being around black people. I'm really interested in that one because we have so much fatigue from being around black white people. And I'm like, girl, you need to have several seats beside Kid Rock. Okay. Trump promotes conspiracy. And in fact, everybody on this list could probably, except for maybe one, two people, could actually have a seat beside the other person that's having a seat on another layer of having a seat and shutting the up. You know what I mean? Okay. Trump promotes conspiracy about President Biden's quote stage 9 cancer. So did y'all see the clip? I saw the clip about him talking about I believe he believed it was stage 9. This man is such a narcissist that even in trying to he could not bring himself to really show empathy for someone else. That is the craziest thing to me. Now, what's funny, and this is what's interesting about like making sure you read deeper is that um sometimes I can't tell whether or not he's just speaking to his base or he is his base in the way he thinks. It's just weird. But um because when he said it, I'm like, I did read somewhere that there was the number 9 in there, right? So I'm like, what is he talking about? There's no stage 9. But what he was mistaken, matter of fact, I don't want to make no excuses for him, but where the number 9 came up is a score called the Gleason score. The Gleason score is calculated by adding together the two grades of cancer cells that make up the largest areas of biopsy tissue sample. And Biden's score is a 9, and it is a very they're considering very aggressive form of cancer. So and is it an aggressive stage? So I think this is interesting that this is all coming out now too, because like did Vice President Vance says we need to be honest if Biden was capable of doing the job. Honestly, this doesn't even matter anymore in terms of like whether or not he was capable of doing the job, whatever. Like right now, y'all just talking to be talking because it's news to be talking about. In that sense, it's like this is a moment of empathy. It doesn't necessarily need to be anything other than that. Like everything doesn't have to be a talking like a freaking bite. And I think that's like so annoying to me about where we are as a society is that everything got to be a talking point. And it's like this is not a talking point. The man has cancer. You as a president, the presidential thing to do is show empathy to the prior presidents or people who have been in your role, period. Whether you agree with their politics or disagree with their politics, whether you agree with them as a person or like them as a person, like the courteous, empathetic, presidential thing to do is show empathy. Jake Tapper explains how Joe Biden aides believed he would need a wheelchair. Health and Human Services Secretary, Health and Human Services, okay, I want to emphasize that. Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. says, don't take medical advice from me. Well, you damn right. Because then a Fox host says RFK Jr. swimming in sewage tainted water was, quote, good for your immune system. She probably drunk bleach. You know what I mean? Like that. That's what I'm saying. Like she's probably one of the people's like, oh, we should definitely drink bleach. Trump said we should drink bleach. I think that's the right girl. Get the fuck out of here. St. Louis mayor says they need federal help after deadly tornadoes. Bruce Springsteen denounces Trump at a concert in England. Suge Knight says Trump will pardon Sean Diddy Combs if he's convicted, which That I don't know that we should all be taking all our, our politics and things from Suge Knight, but I think you got a point there. Also, Suge Knight's lawyer, I saw a YouTube video where Suge Knight's lawyer was saying that the case against Diddy is not really that strong. I think that's interesting because I think right now, according to all the news and the updates about it, um, unfortunately, I'm at this point. Now they're saying that the trial is going to go on for about 8 weeks, but at this point, I'm not really seeing like a smoking gun on him. Right? It's like right now they're just building the case that he's a bad man, but they're not building the case toward the actual charges. So at the moment, they don't the chart. Listening to the commentary because again, there's no cameras and things like that, that or audio that is allowed in the courtroom. But people publicly reporting on it that are in the courtroom, listening to what they're saying. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I'm not hearing where it's like, yes, let's convict him of the things that they're convicting him of. If this was an abuse case, yes. If this was is he a bad guy case, then yeah. But they're doing the background right now. I'm like the hope, not the hope. Dang, that sounds like I want justice to be served. That's what I say. But it sounds like they're doing the background right now to just like shape that he's a bad person. And then they'll go into a bad person could have absolutely done these things. And just being kinky with sex doesn't mean that we could do these other things, right? It's like that is where they're getting to. But this week was hard to hear when it comes to like Cassie's testimony. And I mean, for the people out there, I saw Amanda Seals. She posted this video where she said people are saying things like, "Oh, well, why didn't Cassie just leave?" And then she started naming like decisions that are hard that people claim they're hard to make. Like you keep letting your uncle that abused somebody come to holiday dinner, and you don't want to say that because it would be rude. But you're asking things like, "Why didn't Cassie leave?" Like you don't even want to speak up to your family member about something simple, and let's take it outside of abuse, just something simple that happened, and you're asking why did Cassie leave? Like and they're like, this is crazy for people to even be asking because there's simple things that you won't even speak up about at your job, in your family, with your spouse, and you're asking why would someone who's been completely abused not just leave. Ridiculous. So keep that. Everybody who's even thinking that, hold that and keep that to yourself, okay? Because it doesn't make sense. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary says retailers are not going to eat the tariffs. We are seeing that already. We are seeing that the retailers are saying, nope, they're passing it right to the customer. So I don't know where this conversation came from that they was gonna eat the tariffs. They not eating tariffs. They acting like they allergic to tariffs. Like tariffs, they don't want tariffs on their food. Then tariffs is not something they gonna eat. Okay, because you got places like, um, those places where you get like Fabletics and Fenty and all those places where they want you to have like a shoe dazzle. They want you to have like a subscription to it. And they are in my friend, she sent me her checkout screen. It literally said on her checkout screen for one of those websites, and she's a subscriber to it. On there it said like tariffs, and it was like an extra dollar amount. It's crazy right now. Like, no, they're passing it all to the consumer, which is making everything much more expensive. I feel like we're gonna start seeing it on gas in a minute, which is crazy. Report parents allege child called racial slur in Portland Catholic school, then expelled. Georgia mother says she is being forced to keep her brain dead pregnant daughter alive under abortion ban law, which is wild. And I think that like when it comes to the abortion ban, and this is I would say it's a sensitive topic among believers, quote believers, and like Christians and Protestants, and like it's a tricky topic for people, right? I don't think people understand all the nuance around it though, right? Because I think for whatever reason, people are just thinking, oh well, just that's just people out here having sex irresponsibly, and then they want to go out and have an abortion, right? Like that. Well, that's the only story that people stuck with. but there's multiple levels of the moment where um you may need to terminate a pregnancy. And I think if we stop calling it abortion, because to abort is if you like leaving and abandoning something to end something in that way. Like I think that's a mechanical failure. Instead of saying like the pregnancy termination law. Like when you use the words pregnancy termination, it sounds a little bit more straightforward, but sounds also a little bit more like in what instance it makes you ask a different question. What instance would you need to terminate a pregnancy? That's a question that we can be asking, but when you hear abortion law, the word abortion has stuck with people as this sort of thing that is against their faith. In that case, and ooh, I don't want the Christians to jump on me, but I just don't know that I saw a line in the Bible that was about abortion. You know what I mean? Like I just don't. Maybe I have to look that up, and I'm pretty familiar with the Bible, so I'm gonna have to look that up, or not. But ultimately, just recognizing that there is nuance to it. That when it comes to law, and the thing and saying that something is not lawful. Like if somebody wants to make a moral decision, moral decisions should be yours. They shouldn't be something that has to be so heavily governed. But the woman's body being something that is attempted to be controlled through policy is something that we're not talking about it in that way either. We're not talking about it in that sense. And it's interesting. Speaking of that, um, I was just having a conversation with a colleague about menopause. And what we were talking about is somehow the doctors or whatever are just waking up to the fact that women are not men. And it's like, hello, where have y'all been? Okay. Because the default character, the default patient, the default studied human is male. And so a lot of the things that we have been taking have been based off of a man's anatomy. And finally people are just waking up to like, oh, women are not men. What you think? Hello. But whereas men are only dealing with maybe 1 to 2 hormones a month, women are dealing with like 3 to 4. And when I say that, I want to be mindful of what I'm saying, because I think that a woman's hormones have been, the idea that women have hormones that shift has been weaponized when you talk about having a woman president. Because what if she having a moment and she want to press activate the nuclear codes? Like what the hell? Like shut the hell up. That is the dumbest thing ever. Number one, says a lot about your intellect and understanding of women. Number two, also says a lot about the pop culture narratives around a woman's menstrual cycle and what that means, and our ability to handle things, and our ability to ebb and flow. I think that is, we have yet to see what it looks like to have a woman president, and that is something that I want to see happen in my lifetime. But it's when we start having this conversation about hormones and how hormones are changing, and just the recognition that, hello, women are not men. We need to be studied differently. We need to be treated differently. And we need to learn how to treat each other and coexist. Why does that keep feeling like it's some new concept when we've been here a long time? Okay. Like women been around like y'all been around. So why all of a sudden we just now being paid attention to? That right there is crazy to me. Um, yeah, for the life of me, I can't. Every time I hear news rolling out about some new thing for a woman's body, I'm always like, where y'all been at? I'm 40 something. It shouldn't be that we're just now studying this.